in the Islamic calendar, we are now in the month of Dhul Hijjah, particularly on the 8th day of Dhul Hijjah. The day after this, the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, is the day that is known as the day of Arafah, when the pilgrims from all over the world gather in the plains of Arafah to complete one of the most important pillar of the Hajj, the annual Hajj. Then the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, 2 days after, is the day of An-Nahr, the day of sacrifice, and also known as the day of Eid al-Adha. These are some of the most important days in the Islamic calendar. Some of the most important events in the Islamic calendar take place in these 3-4 days. The history of these days, it dates back to our father, Ibrahim alayhi salam. The significance of these days is attached very, very closely to the legacy of our father Ibrahim alayhi salam. And today I wanted to just give us a reminder of that legacy from Surah Al-Hajj, a passage where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes this particular, how this particular event came about many, many years ago, thousands of years ago. And after going through some of these ayat and summarizing what is in them, I'll try to extrapolate 2 lessons for all of us to take from the legacy of Ibrahim alayhi salam, to implement in our lives right now, and to take it forward after these monumental days are over. This is in Surah number 22, Surah Hajj, ayah number 26, in which Allah says, وَإِذْ بَوَّأْنَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ أَلَّا تُشْرِكْ بِي شَيْئًا وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ وَالرُّكَّعِ السُّجُودِ. We showed Abraham the site of the house, saying, do not assign partners to me. Purify my house for those who circle around it, those who stand to pray, and those who bow and prostrate themselves. وَأَذِّنْ فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. And proclaim to the people the Hajj pilgrimage. They will come to you on foot and on every lean camel. يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ. They will come from every distant pass. This is summarizing the days of Mina, the standing at Arafah, or alluding to the day of Arafah and the night of Muzdalifah. لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ. To attain the benefits that this event, that this pilgrimage offers. وَيَذْكُرُ اسْمَ اللَّهِ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْلُومَاتٍ عَلَى مَا رَزَقَهُم مِّن بَهِيمَةِ الْأَنْعَامِ. And to celebrate God's name on the specified days over the livestock He has provided for them. فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا وَأَطْعِمُوا الْبَائِسَ الْفَقِيرَ. This is and feed yourselves and the poor and unfortunate. This is pointing to the sacrifice that takes place. The people who are making Hajj, their sacrifice, and the people who are not making Hajj, even their sacrifice. ثُمَّ لِيَقْضُوا تَفَثَهُمْ وَلْيُوفُوا نُذُورَهُمْ وَلْيَطَّوَّفُوا بِالْبَيْتِ الْعَتِيقِ. And so let the pilgrims perform their acts of cleansing, fulfill their vows, and circle around the ancient house. This is the rest of the rituals of Hajj: the shaving of the head, or the trimming of the hair, the pelting of the stones, the tawaf al-ifada that is performed. So this passage references the main acts of Hajj, but it starts off with describing how this whole thing came about, which is the legacy of our father Ibrahim alayhi salam. When Allah says, وَإِذْ بَوَّأْنَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ, when we showed Abraham the site of the house. Al-Qurtubi says, بَوَّأْنَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ أَيْ أَرَيْنَاهُ أَصْلَهُ لِيَبْنِيَهُ. He says that Ibrahim alayhi salam was instructed to build the house, the Kaaba, but its foundations were set by Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed Ibrahim to go to the place and showed him the foundations of the Kaaba that were built by, or set by Adam alayhi salam, and then he on top of this built the house. وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ قَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلُ. This is referenced in Surah Baqarah, which Allah says, when Ibrahim raised the foundations of the house, and his son Ismail. So this is in reference to that, بَوَّأْنَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ أَلَّا تُشْرِكْ بِي شَيْئًا. Do not associate anybody with me. This is the foundation of our religion. It is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. It is to not associate any partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I sometimes have the honor to give tours of the mosque where I'm at to people who are from a Catholic school or from a church, and I always point out to them that you may notice that in our mosque we don't have any pictures. We don't have any pictorial representations of any person. You can see our walls are very plain, very vanilla. And that's by design, because in our theology, we don't place anybody between ourselves and God. For us, it is a direct access, a direct line to God. That is the fundamental building block that our theology is built upon. أَلَّا تُشْرِكْ بِي شَيْئًا وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ مِنَ وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ وَرُكَّعِ السُّجُودِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs our father Ibrahim alayhi salam to purify his house. Al-Qurtubi says this refers to purifying it from filth such as hypocrisy, such as innovation in the faith, such as idol worship that was rampant in the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and even the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As you might know, the Kaaba had 360 idols before the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam purified it. So it is referring most definitely to that, but it's also a reference to the idea of cleanliness. It is, he says, وَتَطْهِيرُ عَامٌ. It is general. It is not specific to a certain act. And this is important, that the purification of this house or any house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is a meaningful or a purification that is in meaning, which is spiritual, which is removing things that are inappropriate, and there is a physical purification, cleanliness of the place. And this is in the Quran twice. Allah addresses Ibrahim alayhi salam to purify his house. وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ, and in Surah Baqarah as well, وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ. It's a similar command emphasizing the importance of keeping the house of Allah clean. And how if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give this task to His chosen one, His Khalil, His beloved, it is not below any one of us to be cleaning the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not below any one of us to be doing these little tasks that we might think is below our stature, is below our pay grade. If Ibrahim alayhi salam was told to clean the house of Allah, then all of us can do this, take this responsibility, and all of us can take part in it. وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ وَرُكَّعِ السُّجُودِ وَأَذِّنْ فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ, and then proclaim to people the Hajj. Al-Qurtubi mentions the story of what happened. Ibrahim alayhi salam raises the foundations of the Kaaba. لما فرغ إبراهيم عليه السلام من بناء البيت قيل له أذن في الناس بالحج. It was said to him, invite the people to Hajj. Ibrahim alayhi salam replied saying, Ya Rabbi, وَمَا يَبْلُغُ صَوْتِ. He said, Oh my Lord, where would my voice reach? To whom will it reach? It's not going to go anywhere. It's a barren, empty land. قَالَ أَذِّن وَعَلِيَّ الْإِبْلَاغِ. It was said to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you proclaim, you invite, and the responsibility of getting this message to the people is mine. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, فَصَعَدَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ خَلِيلُ اللَّهِ جَبَلَ أَبِي قُبَيْسٍ وَصَاحَ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَمَرَكُمْ بِحَجٍّ فَحَجُّوا فَأَجَابَهُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي أَصْلَابِ الرِّجَالِ وَأَرْحَامِ النِّسَاءِ. So he climbed this little mountain called the mountain of Abu Qubais, and he yelled out that, "O people, Allah has made Hajj mandatory for you, so make the Hajj." So it was the people who weren't born yet. فَأَجَابَهُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي أَصْلَابِ الرِّجَالِ وَأَرْحَامِ النِّسَاءِ. Their souls replied that لَبَّيْكَ اللَّهُمَّ لَبَّيْكَ. And from that comes the talbiyah, according to Ibn Abbas and the Mufassirin. That incident, that the person who goes for Hajj and Umrah, they are reciting لَبَّيْكَ اللَّهُمَّ لَبَّيْكَ لَبَّيْكَ لَا شَرِيكَ لَكَ لَبَّيْكَ. That talbiyah, its origin was from this call of Ibrahim alayhi salam that he made. And even though no human being was around to answer that call, miraculously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the souls of the people who were not born yet respond to his call. And respond to the talbiyah that today is the most iconic phrase when people go to Hajj. When you turn on the TV or you turn on YouTube or something and you see people making tawaf, or people on their on their social media when they're making tawaf or they're going for Hajj, you see them reciting the talbiyah again and again. And that was from the response that they gave. That was given to Ibrahim alayhi salam when he followed Allah's command, when he raised this foundation, and when he invited the people to Hajj. That was his legacy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. These people will come to you on foot and on every lean camel. They will come from every distant pass. Al-Qurtubi says, قَالَ يَأْتُوكَ. They will come to you, even though people are coming to Allah, to the house of Allah for Hajj. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, they will come to you, O Ibrahim. يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. Why is this? He says, because لأن المنادي إبراهيم فمن أتى الكعبة حاجا فكأنما أتى إبراهيم لأنه أجاب نداءه وفيه تشريف إبراهيم. A very nice and very subtle point Al-Qurtubi makes. He says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to command people to make Hajj. And there was nobody there to accept his call. Miraculously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made people respond to his call. And now everybody who responds to the call of Hajj, all the people who are there today, all the people who went before, and everybody else who's going to go in the future, they're actually responding to the call of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ya'tuka, they will come to you. They will come to you. This is because they are responding to the call that Abraham made, and this is the honor that Allah has given to Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is the first lesson for us to think about, brothers and sisters. That Ibrahim alayhi salam, who was at this point an extremely old man, over 90 years old, according to the consensus of the historians, even older according to some. He was the person who Allah told to build the foundations of the Kaaba at that age, after having spent a whole life of sacrificing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A whole lifetime worth of sacrifice, starting from when he was a young man thrown in the fire. قالوا سمعنا فتى يذكرهم يقال له إبراهيم, a young man mentioning our idols, to his extremely old age, where he finally has a child. He's told to leave his child in the valley of Makkah barren with his wife and just walk away. Finally, when this child grows up, now he's told to go and take this young man and build the Kaaba with him. A whole life of sacrifice. Even before that, I missed the point of him being asked to sacrifice his son. And then finally told to build the Kaaba. A whole life of sacrifice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is who he was alayhi salam. That is the nature of life. It is built upon difficulty. It is built upon sacrifice. When Allah tests a person, is because He loves that person. إِنَّ اللَّهَ إِذَا أَحَبَّ قَوْمًا ابْتَلَاهُ. And Allah loves a person or loves a people, He tests them. And the person who was tested as much as you can imagine is Ibrahim alayhi salam. For us, the lesson is that the effect of our sacrifices, the patience we demonstrate, the devotion we show, that will outlive whatever our life is. Whatever years we spend on this world, the effect of our sacrifices will outlive that. The remnants of our good deeds will outlive those. يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. Allah says people will come to you, respond to you. Ibrahim alayhi salam had nobody to respond to him. Nobody was there physically to say, لَبَّيْكَ اللَّهُمَّ لَبَّيْكَ. In his jama'ah there was not many people. But his legacy lived on thousands of years after, and will continue to live on. This is for us the lesson where if we are put in a situation of difficulty, if we are tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the correct thing to do is to understand this is part of Allah's plan. The correct thing to do is to be patient in the face of that difficulty. The correct thing to do is to hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts that patience, so that that good deed, its ajr, its blessing, can live on far longer than our lives will. The wrong thing The wrong thing would be to question why it happened to me. To question why it happened to me and not that person. That would be the incorrect attitude. But what our father Ibrahim teaches us is we sacrifice and we do whatever it is that Allah has asked us to do. يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. The responsibility of conveying this message, the responsibility of making our deeds last is on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about this, describing this beautiful ritual of Hajj, its origins, its history, talking about how this came about from the sacrifice of Ibrahim alayhi salam. It came from him asking people, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ, come for Hajj. And people responding to his call. And to this day, the response is, whoever responds to that call is responding to the call of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He continues by saying, يَشْهَدُ مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ, highlighting one specific part of Hajj, of all the beautiful things that are there in Hajj. In this passage, highlighting only one. لِيَشْهَدُ مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ, to attain the benefits of Hajj, and to celebrate the name of Allah on the specified days while doing the sacrifice. From this sacrifice, فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا وَأَطْعِمُوا الْبَائِسَ الْفَقِيرَ. This particular verse that highlights this one particular aspect of Hajj, which is a very simple aspect now. If you go for Hajj now, you don't even do your sacrifice yourself. You just give money, someone else does it on your behalf. This one is highlighted here for a few reasons. Reason number one is, it shows the overarching objective of the religion. فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا وَأَطْعِمُوا الْبَائِسَ الْفَقِيرَ. To consume and to feed others. To take care of ourselves and to help those who are in need. This is a theme of our religion at every single turn. If you look at the Quran and you see the times when Salah is mentioned, overwhelmingly Salah is mentioned right after Zakat, or right with it is Zakat. The idea being, Salah is our personal development, it's our way to get to Allah, and Zakat is our contribution to society. For those who need help, for those who don't have enough, for those who can barely make ends meet, for those who have nothing. Supporting everybody on that spectrum. That is an undeniable objective of the faith. So this particular aspect, فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا وَأَطْعِمُوا الْبَائِسَ الْفَقِيرَ, highlights that you eat from this meat and you share it with those who are in extreme need. أَطْعِمُوا الْبَائِسَ الْفَقِيرَ. The second thing it highlights is the attitude of the person who is doing this. لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ. لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ. So people can come and witness the benefits, attain the benefits. So Khutbah says, لِيَشْهَدُوا أي لِيَحْضُرُوا الْمَنَافِعَ أي الْمَنَاسِكَ. He says, this ayah is referring to performing the rituals of Hajj. But the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala phrases it is so people can attain the benefits. Because the believer, when they do a ritual, that the attitude of the believer, the correct attitude is, this is something that is beneficial for me. This is not a burden upon me. This is not a burden. This is an act of devotion. This is my choice that I'm doing this. This is something that I'm doing willingly and happily, not forcefully, not dragged into it. That's the attitude of the believer here. لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ. This applies to everything. When we are praying our salah, when we pray our prayer 5 times a day, the attitude of the believer is what? الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. To establish it. It's important. I have to give it value. I have to make time for it. I have to remove distractions before I pray. Try my best to not be distracted while I'm praying. The attitude of the hypocrite who pretends to be a believer is وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالَى يُرَاءُونَ النَّاسِ. To show off to people, to just do it on a very surface level, without any soul, without any spirit to it. This idea is that salah is important. When we fast, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. It's the attitude, أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَاتٍ. It's only a few days. It's for me to attain the quality of taqwa, for me to connect myself to God. That attitude, يَشْهَدُ مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ. That's what Allah is highlighting here. The people who are making Hajj, the correct attitude for all of us in all acts of worship is that this is not a burden that's been placed upon us. This is not something that we're doing and unfortunately we have to do it because we're Muslims. We're happily doing it. We're proudly doing it. Because it has benefits for us now, we attain its blessings now, and we build our house in paradise through it and attain salvation in the next life. That's the attitude, and that is what Allah is highlighting here. This passage, amongst the few passages of Quran that describe Hajj, talks about the rituals or highlights the rituals. The specific details of the rituals we find in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. But in the Quran, whenever Hajj is mentioned, Hajj is tied to our father Ibrahim alayhi salam. It is his legacy. It is a celebration of his life. When someone says Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, it is a response to his invitation thousands of years ago. His sacrifice outlived his days, and that for us is a lesson. That if we're sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one is noticing our sacrifices, no one is noticing what we're going through, but Allah is the one who's watching. And that's what really matters. So we ask Allah to give us this tawfiq to understand the Quran and Sunnah, give us the ability to perform our rituals with ikhlas. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. We ask Allah to give us the ability to make Hajj if we haven't made so. And we may be those who respond to His call, if not this year, the next year. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin fil awwalin wa salli ala Muhammadin fil akhirin wa salli ala Muhammadin fil mala'il a'la ila yawmiddin. Allahumma ahyina ala sunnatihi wa mitna ala millatihi wa ahshurna fi zumratihi wa asqina min hawlihi ya Rabbal Alameen. اللهم أهلك الظالمين بالظالمين وأخرجنا من بينهم سالمين. اللهم عليك بالظالمين فإنهم لا يجوزون. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا